Good morning, everyone, and I'm Preethi here. Let me introduce before we proceed into the topic. I have almost 15 years of experience into IT, currently working as a DevOps manager in an MNC, and I have a vast experience working on various CI/CD pipelines, infra setup with Terraform, prod deployments on Kubernetes, and I'm also a certified professional in Kubernetes and Terraform. I'm here to share my professional experience and help you reach your goals. So that's a brief about myself. And today we'll be talking about the overview of DevOps. Like we'll have an intro to DevOps, like what is DevOps, why DevOps, like why, who should learn DevOps and how to implement DevOps. We'll have a big picture of these things. This is what we will discuss today. And also you'll get a complete picture of how the course would be, what are all the things we'll be covering it, how this course is helpful to you, and who can take up this course. All of these basic questions and the big picture of DevOps will be covered today. So before I move on, I would like to tell you, please check your audio connections. The screen share is visible to you or not, so that we'll not have any interruptions as we progress. And by default, all of you are on mute. You can unmute and put your questions, or else you can also post your queries in the Zoom chat. I think all the chat window is available for each and every one of you. Right. So yeah, like I said, yeah, this is the agenda of today's class, the big picture of DevOps. Before we get into this topic, I would like to let you know, like we have a group of people from different backgrounds, different experience levels. And also the course is designed in a way that everyone will benefit from this course. I have designed this course in a way that everyone, even a person from different background or else experienced person, should benefit out of it. Every topic will be dealt from the basics till advanced concepts so that you could apply that in reality. And all the real scenarios will be covered. When we are talking or discussing something, we will refer to how it works in the real project so that you could easily relate, and you could map your understanding with a real and get a real picture of it. That's how we'll progress. So let's get started understanding first what is DevOps, why DevOps came in, and how it is implemented, who should learn it, and what is your role if you are a developer, if you are a tester, if you are an ops person, like what is your role, what are the things you should learn. So let's get started. And yeah, like by now, or else some of you might be already working into it, or else you might be having some idea about or heard about it. DevOps, when we say, it's a combination of two terms, development and operations, right? Like what is a development team and what is an ops team? Again, like this is very pretty basic question, and I'm pretty sure like you all can answer this. Let me get started with this. Okay, whenever we talk about DevOps, it's a combination of two terms, right? Development and operations. And here we can see two teams are involved, right? Okay, first let's talk about what is the task or what are the responsibilities of a developers. They are involved into coding, right? Designing, implementation, right? And they'll be working with a client to understand their requirements. That's how the major part is. They will be working in coding part, right? They'll be developing an application by using some skills, some tools, whatever it is. And if you look into ops, they'll be managing the infrastructure, right? They'll be taking care of the servers, services on those servers, or like access, users, logins. Correct. All of that would be taken care by ops teams. In simple, I can say infra management is taken care by them. These guys are looking after developing an application, right? And also, let me tell you, let's suppose, okay, we were talking about online shopping application. Let's say, for example, okay, we are talking about an online shopping application or any application if you take, which end users are using. There are so many teams involved at the backend. Do you agree? There were so many teams involved at the backend. Like out of this, I'm talking about the major teams, like let's say dev team. Let me include QA, means testing team. and ops team, right? I'm talking about these major or the main teams. So developers work for developing an application, designing the application. Once code is ready, testers will be testing it. They'll check whether it is meeting the client expectations or not. And if it is not, they'll raise the bugs. If those bugs will be again fixed by developers. That's how it works, right? Again, developers will fix it, send to them. And that's how like they work together. And for this kind of development and testing, if they need any infra, like if they need any operating system, any service, or if they need anything, they will request the ops teams. Ops teams should serve the request of developers and testers by providing the infra they need, right? It could be an operating system, it could be a new service, or it could be whatever it is, right? So all of that will be provided by the ops teams. So here, if you notice, developers are requested. Here, I mean developers when I mean QA also included, right? So when these teams need any infra changes, they would request the ops teams. Ops teams will serve them. But before ops teams serve their request, they'll be doing a lot of checks. If this change is made, is the infra going to be stable? Is it going to impact any network? Is it going to impact any other access? So they would check, they would do all of these checks before they serve the request. Meanwhile, developers and testers are still waiting for the changes they need, right? So ops teams are taking some time to do all of these checks because they need to make sure the infra remains stable even though they make these changes to the infra. So meanwhile, development team, QA team are still waiting for the changes. And this developers think that ops teams are taking so much time to serve the request. Meanwhile, ops teams think that developers are requesting something which they are not sure of. There arises some gap between these teams because there is no proper collaboration, no proper understanding. Why ops team should take so much time to serve the request? They don't have clarity. Ops team don't have clarity on why development team or QA team should request everything, something new which they are not sure of, right? There is no proper collaboration. There is no proper understanding. Hence, there is a gap between those teams. Here I am clubbing dev and QA into dev team. I would refer them as dev team, right? And there is a gap between the teams. And also the reason for this gap, the reason for this misunderstanding is another thing, major thing, because their skill set, their core competencies are different, right? Developers' skill set is different from the skill set of ops team. Their skill set, their core competencies are different. Also, there is no proper communication, no proper collaboration. Hence, there is a gap between these teams. So how to overcome this gap between these teams and how can we bring these two teams together? Any idea? What do you think? You can unmute and speak out. Let's have an interactive sessions. It should be a two-way communication to gain maximum benefit from the course. Feel free to unmute and speak out if you have any thoughts here.
Pardon me, what is the question?
How to eliminate the gap between these two teams? How to bring these teams together? How can we establish proper collaboration, proper communication between them?
There should be one person who will be dealing both the teams.
One person dealing both the teams means he should convey, you mean, communication between them?
Communication, no, both the tasks should be finished by that person only.
You mean development and ops?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll talk about this. So here I'm talking about,
We
yes.
can introduce a CAB team, that is change management team, which can have access for both. And during all the changes, there will be a tab meeting, which can have a technical addressal of whatever changes are happening, and both will be the members of that. So approvers can be from both the team. That's the way I think it can be addressed.
That is for prod changes, right? If you have prod changes, you'll have a change and all. Here I'm talking about regular changes as well. Let's say you need some change in development, right? So you would be requesting or raising a request to infra team, like we need this kind of infra, we need this software, or else we create a pipeline and it may failing on some server. So ops teams have to look into it. right? Let's say it's a development environment. Then like here basically it's not about just approving formal approvals. I'm talking about how do other teams understand what these guys are doing or why do they need all these changes, right? We'll deep dive into it. So yeah, thanks for sharing your inputs. And I'm talking about why DevOps came in. Okay, in few minutes, we'll talk about what is DevOps and all. So gap between the teams. That's one of the reasons why DevOps came in, to eliminate this gap between the teams. That's one reason. What are the other reasons? Is that the only reason why DevOps came in? What are the other reasons?
By providing
High quality
automation at
product,
each and every
provide high
stage.
quality product.
Okay, how we can have high quality product with the DevOps?
If the project is done in more effective way, means in time manner, fast, reliable, or what?
Okay. See here, developers are writing the code, they're sending it to QA team. QA team is testing it. This cyclic process keep on continuing. Let's say once the application is ready, means it's a bug free, no bugs, it was all good. So then this team, like developers and QA team, will hand over this application to ops team. I'm talking about traditional approach. I'm not talking about DevOps approach yet. So they will hand over this application to the ops teams along with some instruction document. Now ops team have to deploy it. Deploy it means if it is like any people, any persons here from non-IT background or from any different background, just consider deployment as running the application. Okay, we will deep dive into deployments and all in this course. For now, just to get the context, understand that, okay, they are running the application so that end users can use it. Let's say I'm using Amazon.com, right? We are all using Amazon.com, an online shopping application. Means this application is running on some server somewhere, correct? And we are provided with that URL and we are using it. Similarly, so once the application is ready, they will hand over this application along with the instruction document to the ops teams. So it's ops team's duty to run this application and make sure it's available for end users. During this deployment process, they will face a lot of challenges. For example, let's say this application is Java application. They should see the right version of Java is installed on the servers. The dependency packages were installed, right? They have to see whether the version installed is compatible or not. Those instructions will be provided here. Versions and all of that. Versions, dependency, softwares and all. But though that instruction document may not be understood by ops team, or else it might be working on Windows servers but not on Linux servers. There were so many challenges. Ops teams have to fix all of these issues. They should see that application is highly available. Let's say if something is broken, they should see they can bring the application back immediately. So ops teams have to check in, look after all these things and deploy the application, which takes a lot of time. Let's say application is ready by November, right? It may go for deployment in the next year, maybe almost 6 months, right? So deployments were very slow because of these challenges. So how can we increase the velocity of deployments? How can we make deployments faster? That is another challenge. How to overcome this challenge? Developers or QA team, they were sharing the application with the instruction document. Ops teams have all of these struggles, which is making the application deployment slower. How to overcome this drawback? Right, that's another challenge. And then what next? Yeah, how to overcome also we will discuss, but just first I'm listing the problems, then we'll talk about the solutions, right? So this is a second problem. And then, are we good with the second problem? Understood, right? The problem? Everyone, are we good till the two drawbacks?
Yes.
Basically, this is the traditional way, waterfall model.
It could be anything, any traditional methodology or Agile methodology, but not DevOps.
Preeti, once I didn't understand what is agile methodology actually. What is the difference between the waterfall and the agile? Could you
We'll come to that part. We'll
okay,
come
okay.
to that.
When the topic comes, just
Yes, yes, we'll come to that part. Velocity, or let me put deployments are slow. Okay, now Now there were the other challenges are because of the traditional methodology. Let's talk about traditional software development life cycle. By the way, what is software development life cycle? SDLC. If anyone new here, don't worry. It's nothing but sequence of activities involved in development. Means let's say an application has to be developed. First, requirements should be gathered. Requirements should be analyzed. Of course, different teams, people are involved. Then comes design, coding, testing, delivery, and maintenance. Right? These are the different phases involved. Right? These are the different phases involved, and each goes one after the other. Means after requirement gathering, analysis would begin. After analysis, design. After design, coding. Let's suppose you are in coding phase. Client came up with new requirements. They can't accommodate them. It just goes only one after the other. Going back is not possible. And hence, this is named as waterfall methodology. Yes, I'm talking about the typical methodology which served the industry for decades. This has been the very famous, most widely used methodology which served the industry for decades, but there were challenges faced by both the dev team and ops team because of this methodology. See, here the intention is not to teach you waterfall methodology or agile. You don't need to learn them. But I am just bringing up this so that you could really appreciate the importance of DevOps. Right? So what are the challenges faced by developers because of this methodology? Anyone? I'm pretty sure majority of you might have worked with this methodology.
Cost effective?
Cost effective, it's a slow methodology, right? Let's say developers have written some code. It wouldn't be going for testing immediately. It would go for testing after 6 months. Then testers will come with bugs in the old code. Meanwhile, developers will be working on the new code. Working on the new code, fixing the bugs in the old code will be a lot of pressure to developers, right? That's a challenge here. Another thing, because testing is done at a later stages, obviously it's costly, not flexible. Like let's say you are in coding phase. If they come with new requirements, they can't accommodate it. It just goes in one direction, like water. It just goes from top to bottom. It just goes from high level, like a high to low level. I mean, first level to next level, like in one direction. It's not be bi-directional. Means let's say you got the requirements in 2024. They're freezed. Let's say we got the requirements in 2024 January. They're freezed. We don't take up any new requirements after that. So
No
it's not
proper collaboration between the teams?
correct. No proper collaboration, no proper understanding. Like it's just rigid, and the requirements are freeze, and complete software will be delivered all at once. Let's say we have got the requirements on 2024 January. It's a slow, and we would be delivering all of that in 2026. If you don't accept any requirements, I mean, any new modifications, new requirements, and if you deliver whatever you got on 2024, client doesn't need it anymore, because today it's a customer facing world. Requirements changes rapidly. If you can't accommodate, it doesn't work anymore in reality. Yes, there is a gap between the teams. Many people, many resources are needed. Yes, correct. Thanks, Prasanna, for sharing. These are all the challenges we have. Similarly, ops teams also face challenges. Like because this methodology is very slow, they have to maintain the servers up for longer duration. Maintaining the server for longer duration manually without using any tools is a challenge. Poor configuration management. Configuration management is a separate concept. We have a separate chapter, separate tools dedicated for it. At this moment, just understand, it's like you will have a detailed history on the changes happening on the infra. Because here I'm talking about without any tools, poor configuration management, poor monitoring. If you have 1 or 2 servers, you can monitor manually. Imagine you have huge infra. You need to monitor health of the servers, health of the application, services, status, and all. Monitor
24/7 availability is also not possible, I think.
correct. Poor monitoring, no automation. Like I'm talking about everything manual. So 24/7 automation is not possible. These are all the challenges faced by ops teams. Means the third challenge why DevOps came in is to overcome the challenges posed by traditional methodologies. right? This is the waterfall methodology, and these are the challenges. Then, like, how to overcome these challenges? That's where actually Agile came in. Agile is another methodology, but Agile can overcome challenges of only developers. Challenges of ops team are still there. These are overcome, but challenges of ops teams are still there.
Okay.
How to overcome this? That's where again DevOps came in, which could overcome challenges of both the dev teams and ops teams. How and all we will learn. But understand this, DevOps is a methodology. By now you might have understood DevOps is a methodology. It's not a tool, or it's not a software, or it's not some language, or it's not some scripting or something. It's a methodology basically. To achieve this methodology, we use a tool stack. We'll come to that part. But understand DevOps is a methodology which can overcome challenges of both development team and ops team. How we will learn. But before getting into DevOps, let us also peep into how Agile could overcome the challenges of dev teams, right? Just I'll give you a brief. We are not going to learn Agile here, but because we were in the context, let me just tell you like how it can overcome these challenges of dev teams, right? Okay. So in Agile, let's suppose, okay, it's a week one. Here, code will be developed in bits and parts, in chunks. It's not that complete software is all delivered at once. Let's say a chunk of code A is developed on week one, right? On week two, this chunk of code A would be immediately going for testing. It's not that it's tested after a week. Immediately it would be tested. Meanwhile, developers are not sitting idle. They will be developing another chunk of code B. And on week 3, this B will be going for testing. Of course, this will be tested individually. Also, at some point, this B will be combined and tested with the old code. A and B will be merged and tested, right? Isn't it? Then only it make a complete product. Meanwhile, developers are developing another chunk of code. So if you notice here, every week, both development and testing are happening parallelly. It could be called as continuously or iteratively. Because development and testing are happening parallelly, this is called continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration. Means every code developed will be merged into the system, and the entire code would be tested again, which makes the code complete or quality, right? And here if you see, code is always stable and ready for release. Stable. Code is always stable and ready for release. There will be deliveries every week or every alternative weeks. Let's say 15 days, they may have a release. It's not that they'll deliver it after 2 years. They deliver it every 15 days. It's a flexible. Because this process keep on continuing, they can accommodate new changes, new modifications, all of that could be accommodated, right? So it's a flexible enough, always code is steady and stable for release. Bug fixing became faster. If it is being tested immediately, it costs low, it's economical. If testing is happening immediately, it is very cheaper. If testing is happening at the later stages after 6 months, it makes the project very costly. Bug fixing takes time in those cases. More people have to be working. These are all the challenges. So this is how it could eliminate them. And also because development testing is happening continuously, iteratively. These two teams, development team, testing team, were brought together and they are working together. It doesn't mean that a tester will go and write the code and a developer will go and write the test cases. No. Brought together means they were working as a single team with a proper understanding, proper collaboration, proper communication. Basically, it's a communication. Communication is the key. These two teams could work together with a proper communication. Understood? So those two teams could work together with a proper communication, proper understanding. So they were brought together. So there is no gap between them. They understand, okay, developers will be working on coding now. We have to test it immediately and we have to share the feedback to them immediately. That kind of understanding collaboration is there, which is called continuous development, continuous testing, and continuous integration, due to which it could overcome challenges of dev team. But challenges of ops team are still there. Got it, all of you? Understood this, everyone? Any questions from anyone? Are we good?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
Appreciate your quick confirmations, or if you have anything, feel free to unmute and speak out. So that's how it could eliminate. So why DevOps came in? We were talking about why DevOps came in. When we are learning something new, it could be an IT course, or it could be some skills, any skill set. First, you should know why you have to learn it. Why DevOps came in. So to make the deployments faster, because deployments were slow here, and then overcome the challenges posed by traditional methodologies like Agile and waterfall, right? So that's the reason why DevOps came in. Okay, fine. Then what is DevOps actually? How is it helpful? Yes, it eliminates the gaps, meaning now there is a DevOps team. Okay, not an ops team, it's a DevOps team. And what are the skill set they should have and what do they work with? Let me tell you. DevOps team is nothing but a team who works in the process of taking the code to production. Means, okay, developers are ready with the code. Okay, that from the desk of a developer till the code goes to the production table, what are all the challenges involved, or else how to automate this complete process. The process of automating code going from developer desk to production table is nothing but DevOps. This process is completely automated where DevOps team is involved. This is where a DevOps guy works. Let's say you are a person from development background. You want to become a DevOps person. Yes, learn this process of automation. You can become a DevOps person. Let's say you are from testing background. You are from middleware team. You are from database. You are an ops guy. You could learn this process of automation to become a DevOps person. DevOps person doesn't mean that they will write the code or they will do testing. They'll not do that. Still development team is there. Still testing team is there. Then what do they do? Once developer is ready with their code, how to take this code to the production table automatically? That's what DevOps does. How to take this code to production table means here so many things are involved. Testing is involved, building is involved, all of that is automated. Testing is involved means again, testers will be writing the test cases. Yes, those test cases will be automated, will be executed automatically in this process, which is nothing but DevOps. Anyone, whoever interested in this process of automation can become a DevOps person. Let's suppose you have a previous experience as a developer. Now you are switching your career. If you have become a DevOps person, if you have switched to your career, you'll be working in this part. You will be no more writing the code for developing an application, right? Also, another important and interesting thing, how to eliminate this gap. Earlier, in the traditional approach, sometime back, we were talking about dev team, testing team, they'll test the application and hand over the application to ops teams with the instruction document, right? Ops team are struggling to go through those documents, and it may work sometimes, it may not work sometimes because of their differences in the skill set or differences in their understanding, and they have a lot of challenges, right? But now, the way developers and testers hand over the application got changed completely. They are not going to share that Java application directly. If you are into it, let me tell you, there might be an artifact, right? Like jar file or a var file or EAR file, which you will share it to ops teams and ops teams will deploy it. But now the way they share the artifact changed. They are now containerizing their application and sharing it, containerize their app, their Java app, and then share it to DevOps team. If they were sharing the containerized app, DevOps team need not struggle about, okay, which version of Java will work and all. They'll just run this container. It will work seamlessly on any environment, be it dev or a test or a prod. See, here I'm not talking about containerization. It's a completely different subject, which we'll be covering in our course. There is a dedicated chapter for it. It will take some week or a 10 days to learn this. Here, the point is the way the way of development, the way of deployment completely changed. That's how DevOps can automate the process. So because of this, what is the advantage? Let's say application is ready today in the month of November. Maybe immediately, even tonight, or else even in an hour also, it could go for production. Do you know that? That's the importance of DevOps. Do you ever wonder, like let's say we are using some Amazon pages, Amazon.com. Sometimes we see during a pandemic, like in during the COVID times, during the pandemic, you might have seen some alerts coming in, right? Immediately, like, okay, this region is banned for it, or else tomorrow we are going to have the kind of high alert in this kind of. How could these pop-ups come immediately? Isn't it? Let's say now the scenario came in, there is a high alert in this particular region. This region is under like a red alert zone. So how could that pop-up come immediately, right? So how can features deliver so immediately, so quickly? That's what is because of DevOps. Immediately it could reach the production table because the way of development, the way of deployment have completely changed with containerizing concepts like Docker, Kubernetes and all. We will deep dive in, but the whole point is the process of development, the process of deployment changed. When I am saying this, here I would like to tell, okay, let's say I want to switch my career. Okay, I want to work in this process. Developer is giving me the application in containerized format. We will deploy. I'm working in this part. Okay, so I will learn DevOps. Not only DevOps, guys. Let's suppose, okay, I'm a developer, I'm a .NET developer. I still want to remain as a developer only. I have passion for development. Still, developers also should learn it. Testers also should learn it. Because you understood this, developers, once their application is ready, they were not sharing their application like this in the old format. They were containerizing the app and sharing it. So how is this containerizing happening? That is to be done by developers. So even though you don't want to become a DevOps person, you still want to continue as a developer or a tester, still you should learn this DevOps methodology. Because one thing is, yes, the way you share the application change. So you need to know how to containerize and share it. Another reason is you are working in such a methodology. Your code is going through these pipelines. It's a very obvious. Everyone should have that kind of understanding. Am I making sense? Or any confusions why a developer should learn it? Still any confusions? Any questions? Feel free to ask. Am I clear?
Yeah, Preethi.
Yes.
So how, what is meant by containerization and all, we will learn. That's the agenda of the coming up classes. So here I'm telling you, like, okay, DevOps came in, but what it is doing, how could it eliminate that? So because of this, now, unlike earlier method, sometime back I'm talking, okay, ops team should go and check for the versions of the softwares. Okay, let's say they installed right version, but system got upgraded. They have to again set the versions. All of this chaos is eliminated with the DevOps. They'll get the containerized format of the application. They'll just run the container seamlessly in any environment. Deployments will become faster. You got this point now, right? So that's how it could eliminate this. Then yes, obviously traditional challenges also. Like I said, a new feature is developed today. It could get into production in an hour. Yes, that's how pipelines are. That pipeline is nothing but CI/CD pipeline, continuous integration, continuous delivery pipeline, where it is automated 24/7 automation possible without any manual intervention. Initially, to design the CI/CD pipeline, let's say, okay, it's a new project. Okay, we are developing it, we are designing the pipeline now. Initially, to design this pipeline, you may need 6 or 7 people. See, number is always an example, okay? How many people, all depends on the project. You all know that. Just an example. Let's say 6 to 7 people are working on the designing the CI/CD from the scratch. Once it is set up, once the pipeline is done, whenever developer make the code, it will automatically trigger. That's how we'll create it. In our course, we are going to create these CI/CD pipelines on multiple applications, like a monolithic one and a microservice application, so that you will see end-to-end flow how CI/CD will be created. Using different strategies, we'll do that. So yeah, once it is, for the first time when you create, you need more people. Once it is created, you just need 1 or 2 people to monitor it because it's all automated. So here at this context, I would like to say, The person with the strongest skill set will survive in the market in near future. Not only like or now almost all the gigantic companies like Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, all of these are already implementing it. In near future, every small company also will step into it. Of course, all the startups are using this approach, this methodology. DevOps is a methodology. They are using it. In near future, every company will step into it. So it's a right time to invest your time, put your effort, and learn such a tool, such a methodology, let's say DevOps. How do you achieve this automation? That's where different tools like Docker, to containerize, you have Docker. To provide high availability, you have Kubernetes. To spin up the infra, you have Terraform. To configure and manage the infra, you have Ansible. That's how each tool comes in this CI/CD phases. Before we deep dive into that CI/CD, I'm telling you like what DevOps is. So DevOps is about automating the complete process after deployment till it reaches production table. Anyone from different backgrounds, any fresher can also learn this. You don't need a prior experience as a developer to become a DevOps person, or else a tester to become a DevOps person. You can be a completely newbie from a different background to learn this. We will be going in from the very basics into this, right? So in this context, so what is DevOps? DevOps is nothing but continuous development, continuous testing, along with the continuous integration and continuous deployment. Deployments were also automated, and continuous monitoring. This is what is DevOps. So, okay, how it eliminates the gap? Yes, because the continuous development testing happening, we work with developers very closely. Remember, DevOps teams work with development and testing teams very closely. It doesn't mean that I go and write the code, or else because I means I'm a DevOps person. So I don't go and write the code there, or else or go and write the test cases or test plans and all. No, I don't do that. But we communicate a lot. We work as a single team. We often communicate with the different teams. Communication plays a key role for a DevOps engineer, because there were so many teams involved in the CI/CD, like so many phases involved in. We have to work with the different teams together. So obviously it eliminates the gap. Developers know what's happening, how the pipeline flow would be when we have to deliver, how quickly infrastructure should be spinned up. So everyone should have the idea of this methodology. This is a combination of different stages put together. So we all work as a single team. It doesn't mean there is a team where developers, testers, DevOps people are there. No, different teams, but we work as a single team under the same umbrella. So this is what is DevOps. Also, still any questions you can feel free to ask. Am I clear? Can I proceed? So these are some of the challenges why DevOps came in, and this is what is DevOps. If you want me to differentiate with respect to the teams, let me do that. Suppose if you talk about the software development lifecycle, like waterfall, you have development. After development, you have testing, and then you have a delivery or deployment, and then monitoring. One after the other, right? Then with Agile, development testing are brought together, like continuous development, continuous testing, but then delivery or deployment is manual, and then monitoring is also manual. Then came DevOps, wherein you have continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, continuous deployment. This is also automated, and continuous monitoring. With respect to the phases, if with respect to the teams in SDLC, dev team, QA team, ops team are working as a separate teams in silos, in isolation. Each team doesn't understand the challenges of others. They just work as a separate team, and there's a blame game, each blame at one another. Then in Agile, because testing development happening iteratively, continuously or parallelly, they were brought together, and we are calling them as dev team. But still ops team is left in isolation. Then came DevOps, which even brought these two teams together. That's what is DevOps. Means, of course, all are involved. Development team, QA team, ops team, of course, many other teams gets involved in.
So you mean to say that before DevOps, there was a manual. thing, but in DevOps we are doing the in automation way.
Yes, even there is automation, but it's not a complete automation like you have in DevOps. And it's a without manual intervention, your code moves to production table. Of course, without manual intervention in the sense, first it would be deployed to lower environments, then to the higher environments, everything automatically.
Okay, okay.
So that is what is DevOps. Till now, we were talking about what is like why DevOps came in, like why DevOps came in, why should we learn this? And then we were talking about what is DevOps. How to implement this DevOps? That's the next question. How? This we'll be learning in our entire course. It will take 2 months to understand this complete process. We'll be building CI/CD pipelines on multiple applications, which includes a monolithic as well as microservice application. I'll show you that CI/CD which we'll be creating in our course. So this is what we'll be doing from tomorrow. It's a completely hands-on. DevOps is a complete hands-on. Today, because it's a beginning, we have this kind of intro and the big picture. Tomorrow onwards, hands-on begin. Like how we will start and all, I'll explain you in some time. So here is a presentation with whatever we discussed till now. It's like a notes you can go through. This will be provided to you. You can go through whatever we discussed, like a notes for your reference after the class. Why DevOps came in. See here the differences which I have shown you some time back. In DevOps, you have everything automated, even deployment is iterative. Like any code change done would be going through the complete process. Right? And the roles and responsibilities of a DevOps person. You would be working at any stage in that CI/CD pipeline. Also, apart from this, you have many other things. You will be working on the infrastructure setup, configuration management, all of those things. We will deep dive into the roles. We were going to work on the real scenarios, which you could claim as a roles and responsibilities in your resume. Once we were going into those topics, I will relate how you could explain them in your interview or with respect to your resume. So these are the skills a DevOps person should have. We were going to learn Git. Just a second. We are going to learn Git, Maven. Maven as a build automation tool, Jenkins, Docker, Ansible, Terraform, Kubernetes, Docker Swarm. Of course, lot many things are there. Docker Compose, Prometheus, Grafana, all of this and the services, some AWS services which are needed for DevOps. This is just a brief content. You have an elaborative detailed content on the website, which you can also go through. Right? And by the way, here I would like to mention, there might be so many tools under each category. What is version control system? Why we learn it? Why do we need it? All of that we will do. When we go through the course content, let's say tomorrow I'll be starting with Git. We'll be going from the basics, like what is Git? What is a version control system? What are the other version control systems? Why we are learning it? Why not other tools? And Git architecture. And then we will go into the Git concepts. Complete hands-on will be started from tomorrow. Under the same category, there were many other tools like TFS, SVN, and so on. Right? There were different tools under this category. We were learning it because it's very widely used and it's a market leader in this category. So you don't need to learn every tool under each category. Master and expertise one tool under each category. That will do, because if you know Git, other tools are similar, similar analogy. So focus on one tool.
How many
Just-
AWS services will be dealing here?
Just a second, please. Yes. So now coming to the AWS services, I'll walk you through what are all the AWS services I'll cover in a minute. Okay, just give me a minute. I'll go to the detailed content. Here, I would like to tell you one more thing. These are the tools covered, and there were also other tools covered here apart from what are listed. We'll be covering JFrog as an Artifactory and many other AWS services, and Argo CD will be covered. That's not mentioned in this page. Argo CD, JFrog will be covered, and these are all new additions to the course, so they were not listed here. We'll add them up. So these things, and another thing is, there were certain tools in this DevOps list which needs Linux. So we will be learning all of this on the Linux environment, right? So if you are completely new to Linux, you don't need to worry. We'll be take you again from the basics of Linux. Basics of Linux, at least navigating to the files and folders is required, and we'll cover that, and we'll be doing all of that on Linux. So that is what I would like to cover on this page, and I'll go through the detailed course content. Just give me a second. Before going to the course content, I would like to show you, this is the CI/CD pipeline we will be developing in our course. If you see here, see all the tools are integrated here. Go developer write the code and place the code on Git. We'll pull that via Jenkins and do continuous builds with Maven, continuous testing by running the test cases. These test cases could be in Selenium or UFT or JUnit, whatever it is. Execute the test case automatically, deploy it with Docker, deploy it on Kubernetes with the configuration management tools like Ansible and Terraform. And then use a monitoring tool like Prometheus and Grafana and send the reports to the concerned teams. This is the high level or a big picture of the DevOps pipeline. How we'll progress with this pipeline is, first we will get started with Git tomorrow. We will learn from basics till advanced concepts. On this Git, you will be having quizzes, assignments, interview questions. You will learn this Git thoroughly, become expertise on it, and then we will learn Jenkins. Again, same is the case with the Jenkins. And then create this pipeline till this part. Integrate and create it. Then go and learn Maven. Come back and add it to the pipeline. That's how we'll zoom into each section, learn each part thoroughly, come back and add it to the pipeline. That's how this pipeline will be developed step by step till the during these 2 months. It's not just pipeline is developed all at once. It's not that you just learn the tool and go on. You will learn the tool, you will master it, you will come back and apply in the pipeline. That is very, very important for a DevOps engineer. As a tester or as a developer, you might be knowing some of the tools here. Am I correct? Any developers, testers here? You might be learning, you might have been used Git, Maven, Jenkins. Am I correct? Have you used any such tools? Any developers, testers here?
Yes.
Here, my point is, yes, you might, as a developer tester, you might have used this version control systems, you might have used Jenkins, you might have used Maven. Here we will, it's not just again learn them and come back and integrate in the CI/CD pipeline and learn how they are implemented in DevOps. Also, others don't get confused here when I say developers, testers use it, Jenkins needs some coding or Git needs some coding. No. Anyone should learn Git to version control your project files. Right? So it's not about development. They are using it. Doesn't mean that they are using them for development. They are using for building and continuous integration purposes. So we will learn it from the perspective of DevOps. We'll integrate them in the pipeline. So we will zoom into each section here, master each section, come back and create the pipeline. This pipeline will be started creating from, I think from day 7 or so. We'll start creating with the pipeline from day 7 till last day, almost till last day we'll be working on this pipeline, because we have to learn one by one, come back and build up the pipeline. It's not built in a day or a two. It's not that you just learn the tool and move on. We will learn it and see how it's implemented. The next important thing, here the main focus of the course is DevOps. We will be learning DevOps, CI/CD pipelines, infrastructure setup with Terraform, high availability with Kubernetes, all of these things. And we will be learning this irrespective of the platform, because DevOps is a methodology. It's not irrespective. It's not dependent on any platform. Like it's not dependent on any cloud or on-prem kind of. It could be implemented on cloud or it could be implemented on on-prem physical servers, wherever it is, you can implement it. So whenever we talk about DevOps, don't think that, okay, is it for AWS or is it for Azure? Because I get these questions a lot. Are we learning DevOps on AWS or are we learning DevOps on Azure? Doesn't make any difference. Irrespective of the platform, you should be able to implement DevOps. Then where does AWS comes in? One is, yes, irrespective of the platform, you could create these pipelines. On cloud also, you could create the pipelines. But again, the concepts, the strategies remain same. And there are some services which cloud offers to create these pipelines, but they are cloud specific. They are not widely used. Like AWS code commit, code build, code deploy, code pipeline services are provided by AWS. Similarly, some services are provided by Azure, but we use them very less. Without using those services also, you could implement DevOps. That is where it's widely used in the market. That would be our focus. So irrespective of cloud, you could implement it. In this course, I'll be showing how do you create this CI/CD pipeline on any platform, irrespective of the platform, how do you create it? And also as an example of a cloud, I'll show you a pipeline on cloud also using cloud services, which is having very less demand. Am I clear? What exactly it means, cloud services for DevOps, we will understand that. Just understand here one thing. We are learning DevOps. We are learning it irrespective of the platform. If I learn the DevOps here, tomorrow I could use this DevOps on-prem or else on AWS or Azure or GCP. That is the agenda of the course. So this is the pipeline we will be learning. Any questions from anyone on this page before I go into the course content and the lab setup? I'll be talking about the lab setup, course content in few minutes. Any questions on this page?
Means the CI/CD can be developed by using the DevOps or else by using the cloud also, you mean to say?
CI/CD pipeline is a DevOps concept. Okay, this DevOps concept, CI/CD pipelines can be built on-prem, can be built on any cloud as well.
Okay,
It's
okay.
not that you need to know AWS to become a DevOps engineer, or it's not that you should become a GCP engineer to learn DevOps. But having idea of services, certain services, like we'll be using some EC2 instances for a DevOps, but the main focus is DevOps pipelines, not the EC2 service.
Okay.
Anyhow, we'll be developing it on cloud as well, because like we see the environments as cloud, but it's not a cloud course. It's not a cloud course. That's what you have to understand. Cloud course alone will not work. A DevOps engineer with a cloud knowledge will be an asset, which we are doing here. It's a DevOps on AWS. It's not AWS content or AWS course where you will peep into DevOps. DevOps is the major focus here. And now let me walk you through the course content. Like I said, tomorrow we'll start with Git, right? It may go for some 5 days where we'll master the Git completely. And
Preethi, Ravindra, sorry to interrupt you, Ravindra here again. I just wanted to know, are we learning about SonarQube for code quality and Trivia as a security tool? Are we learning these two tools?
okay, code coverage tool Sonar is not learned, but code coverage is done in the course using Jacoco plugin. Because there are so many code coverage tools and plugins which you can use in Maven. Here I am covering Jacoco plugin, which will do code coverage. So if you know how Jacoco works, Sonar is almost similar. You will integrate it with the Sonar so that you can see the reports on the SonarQube dashboard. And the security tool is not covered. We'll not be focusing on security part here. And yeah, this is what I want to show you. Introduction to DevOps. These are the topics we are covering. What is DevOps, why DevOps and all. And tomorrow we'll be starting with Git. Linux will be covered after Git. So we'll be talking about Git tomorrow, like introduction to version control system types, Git architecture, and master the Git, right? And then this is the course content. And meanwhile, I just want to show you before going to the topics. One thing is, like, once you are into this Git, like let's say we are going through Git, your role is like after the class, you have to go through the lab assignments if you see. So go to Git. Here you can see day 1, day 2, all the every day's course content here. I mean lab, how should you go for the assignments? I think day 4, this needs login. Like till day 1, I think you'll be accessible for everyone. It's a public access, but from day 2, you need to have the access. So here are the assignments every day. On each day, you have the assignments which you need to focus, including the explanation, everything. Clean documentation is there. And from my experience, I see people struggle to do the hands-on because of lot of challenges. This documentation, these assignments are prepared with external care that your hands-on becomes easy. You can quickly do the hands-on because I know you guys are working people. You hardly find time to focus. So these documents or these labs will help you do your hands-on very easily because step-by-step instructions were provided here. Right? So here are the assignments like I have shown you with detailed instructions on every day. Not only that, to validate your learning, you have quiz which you have to go through every day. Like every day you can take up this quiz to validate, to register your learnings. That's how it will help you to test your learnings. So every day you have to go through this. Not only that, after each topic, like, okay, you have done the hands-on today. It's a day 1 assignments completed, day 1 quiz completed. Go to the interview questions. Interview questions, there is a very good feedback we received with these interview questions. Like there are many people who got clear their interviews with these interview questions because it's not just a dump from the interview. These are from my personal experience and from the experience of my students. This is created. Like when we sit in the interview panel, how we question, that's how the interview questions were developed. Again, they were beginner, intermediate, scenario-based questions categorized. So that after every day, like whatever topics covered today, those interview questions you can take up. Or else after completing it, you can also go through the interview questions, master every tool. If you follow these steps on every tool, apply the same for Jenkins, same for Maven, same for Kubernetes, you can master the course within 2 months and you will be ready for interviews. There were job openings. There were a lot of interviews, calls like we are receiving. Students are receiving the calls. There were openings, freezes completed in many companies. So it's a right time to put your time and gain the subject. So this is the same should be applicable for every tool. That's how will help you mastering the content. So with a clear instructions, with a set and with a prescribed plan, you could complete that in 2 months. Right? So it's everything is crystal clear here. And coming back now to the course content. So this is the Git. Again, there's a lot of content. I couldn't place everything here, but many things are not placed. Again, if you take a reset, we'll be covering reset hard, soft, mixed. So like that, you have a lot of content on the version control systems, Maven, Linux basics, Jenkins tools, Jenkins topic, Kubernetes, like as I'm certified in Kubernetes and Terraform, there will be like extra interest kept on these tools and for the benefit of the students as well, because these are very much demanded tools in the market. So you need to gain a lot of expertise in that. That's the intention of placing here. In Kubernetes, I'm also covering EKS. EKS is a AWS managed service of Kubernetes. Right? It doesn't mean that like when you know Kubernetes, you should be like implementing on AWS. It could be anywhere. So I'm covering Kubernetes irrespective of any cloud. And also I'm covering this AWS EKS service, which is having very good demand in the market. In this, all the real scenarios like cluster auto scaling, right? Implementing deployments via CI/CD pipelines on EKS, all of that are covered. Even ECR, Elastic Container Registry as a private registries were covered. And another thing is here, AWS services are covered not just like a topic. Okay, let's begin AWS today, complete by 5 days. No, we will be picking up AWS services as per the scenarios. Means when we get to Kubernetes, we have a scenario where we need EKS. Then we'll be picking up this. And when we are doing Jenkins, we'll be configuring Jenkins on EC2. Then we'll be learning EC2. That's how these AWS services are covered. These are the AWS services I'm covering: IAM service, VPC service, EC2, S3, load balancer, auto scaling services, ECR, ECS, EKS. All of this will be covered along with code build, code deploy, code commit, code pipeline. Here is code pipeline. But these services are very less used. These services, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 services are very less used. Out of one of this code commit is going to be deprecated or decommissioned. But yeah, these services will give you an idea. These are cloud specific. Similarly, there might be some service on Azure, but they are very less used and having less importance. Even I'm covering them to give you some idea. These are less preference. You can give less preference to them, 14, 15, 16, 17. But I'm covering that so that you will also get an idea. And Terraform, the real scenarios like workspaces, managing multiple environments with workspaces, remote state backend, all those scenarios will be covered. So here is the detailed course content. Again, like I said, we missed few things because those are new additions like Argo CD, JFrog. Those are missed here. Argo CD is a GitOps principle. So what is GitOps? We'll say because that is the trend today. Any questions on this course content or anyone? When I talk about Maven, like again, very simple or a brief content is here. We'll be covering. Okay, let me list it. We'll be covering code review plugins. We'll do code review as well in the CI/CD pipeline. We'll do code coverage as well. And of course, executing test cases via automation. That is covered, deployments, and then publishing the artifact to JFrog will be covered. Also publishing the image to ECR or JFrog will be covered. What is an image? What is a containerization? All of that coming up. All of these will be covered under Maven. Of course, the last one is not Maven part. This is from containers. Any questions you have?
Classes would be for all the 7 days, ma'am, for 2 months.
Classes will be from Monday to Friday. Every week. Saturday and Sunday will be off. Only the first class will be on Sunday, but from tomorrow onwards, it will be Monday to Friday. 5 days and the other 2 days you can do hands-on. And one more thing, don't get confused or worry about it because some people raised a question on this. I mentioned code review doesn't mean that you should know coding, or code coverage doesn't mean that a DevOps person will go and understand the code or write the code or do. There are some plugins which will be integrated into the CI/CD pipeline, which will automatically do that review and coverage. So what are the tools, what are the plugins we will learn so that in the pipeline, you will get an idea of all the stages. As a DevOps person, you will create that stage. That's all in the pipeline. It doesn't mean you should know the code or you should know how to review. Plugin does the job and it's very smooth stages we'll be having.
And all the recorded lecture would be available for future.
Every class will be recorded, yes, and it will be published immediately, like after processing 1 hour or so will be available. And yes, you will be having lifetime access for those recordings. And I'm telling this recording will be available within an hour because we have passive learners as well. We have learners from different time zones like Australia, US as well. So they are passive learners like who will watch the recording. So everyday recordings will be posted after the class. And this terminology like deployments, publishing, everything you will be understanding as we progress. And in the chart, in the chart, like we have posted something like community updates, right? WhatsApp community where you can join so that you will get all the latest updates of the timings of the class, every details you will get there. Even the videos will be posted in this community. So you can join there so that once the recording is ready, we'll post the recording there. And today, like I'm sharing you a small quiz today. This is to check your understanding. Have you all got the quiz? Go through it. There might be 1 or 2 questions which are out of context. That is intentionally we have given that. You can explore and answer. Hope you all can see the quiz. Anyone who can't see the quiz?
I think I am unable to. I connected through the browser on phone.
Here in the, like you have so many options in the Zoom, right? You have to select that polls or quizzes so that you will see the pop-up. I can see, okay, I can see 50% join the quiz. How about others?
So, ma'am, are you asking us to join interviews questions?
No, here in the Zoom chat, I have launched a Zoom quiz. You can see the options in the Zoom panel so that you will see an option called polls and quizzes.
Okay.
In the Zoom, you will be seeing chart window, right? Similarly, there will be an option, go to more. Under more, there should be something like polls or quizzes. Have you got that option? If someone can, like, if you can find it, like, let others also know where exactly you are seeing that option. Can anyone know where you are seeing that option?
See, in the bottom right side, you have the more option.
Correct.
So in that, you can have the polls.
Polls. Correct. In the Zoom window, like you have chart, screen share kind of, you will be seeing something like more. Under more, you should be seeing polls or quizzes.
Preeti, you'll be sharing the YouTube videos in this site or it will be on YouTube?
It will be on YouTube. First 3 sessions will be publicly available. Other sessions will be locked with private access. You will be accessing it with your Gmail ID. Like they'll be
Okay.
on YouTube with private access. And those links, those updates will be shared on the WhatsApp community. If anyone there who haven't joined that, please join the WhatsApp community, which we have shared in the Zoom chat. The links were shared in the Zoom chat.
Okay. So do we have a practice environment maintained by you or like is it like a
Okay.
common AWS?
Yes, thanks for reminding me about the lab. Like we will be doing Git in our local machine. It could be local, it could be your Windows or Mac or Linux, anything should be fine. From Jenkins onwards, like we'll be using EC2 instances on cloud, AWS. AWS EC2 instances we will use for our lab purpose so that you will be also getting an environment awareness. You will be used to the environment, cloud environment. So lab will be your own lab. You can use it at your own pace, at your own convenience. We'll be setting up a free lab. How to set up a free AWS account, how to set up our free lab. I'll show you everything.
Okay. For coding, like we'll be using this Visual Studio Code or
We
it's
will
some
not
other?
write the code, by the way. Sorry, we don't write the code. Okay, we need to
Okay.
correct it. It's not coding. We write some configuration files for Kubernetes and Terraform. That's not at all coding. Yes, for that, we'll use VS Code Editor. I'll also show you the setup. How do we set up that?
Okay. Thank you.
There is a lot of questions and a lot of confusion over people, not about you, but in general, I'm saying there were a lot of questions saying that, okay, I heard that for Kubernetes, we write, that's not coding, that's not development. We don't write any conditional statements also in Kubernetes. How can that become coding? That's not at all coding. That's a Kubernetes manifest files. We get the template from the official documentation. We use that and change the parameters and equal. Understanding those files is important. You don't write them line by line. By the way, Kubernetes is an open book exam, be it the certification exam or be it the interview. You don't need to write those lines. That's a format. Let me show you. Whoever have confusion, I just want to clarify that. Okay, this is the Kubernetes official page. What is a pod and all we will learn. Okay, this is the manifest file. I'm showing you this manifest file because I have students, or else before joining, there was so much of misunderstanding or misconception saying that. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, Preeti.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the Kubernetes manifest file. People assume that, or else they are misguided, telling that this is coding. This is no way coding. How come it's coding? Kind pod, you have everything. Like I said, Kubernetes is an open book exam. Like in interviews also, you can refer this official page. In certification also, it's a proctor monitored. It's a very strict. You can still use it because that's an open book exam. You will use this manifest file, take this manifest file and change your image name. Maybe it is something else in your case. Change these names and use it. That's all. But what is important, understanding this, what is meant by kind pod, what is meant by spec container, what is meant by image name. This understanding, you should not modify this. You have to use the same, like a template. You have to copy it and use it. So where is coding here? You change the name of you shouldn't change these things again. There are restrictions. You cannot change API version kind. You can change only these labels, these tags. So where is coding here? So there were a lot of misguidance or lack of knowledge for newbies or somehow, right? It's not coding, it's a manifest file we create. Yes, these manifest files, we can use any editors like VS Code editor or anything. This is what we do. We don't write the code like developers. You go and see developers code, how different it would be. That's a totally different. Don't call this as a coding. I just want to clarify this for many participants over here. Any more questions? Any other confusions or misunderstandings you have, you can clarify them.
How much Terraform we would be using, ma'am?
How much Terraform we would be using in the course, you mean?
With,
Okay, in the course.
with respect to infrastructure building, ma'am.
Okay, infrastructure building, it could be anything in the real time, right? Like anything in the sense, using Terraform, you could spin up infrastructure to any extent, to any scale. Here in this course, we'll be getting ready for that. Means here in this course, we'll be learning again Terraform from basics till advanced concept. When I say this, yes, we will learn from Terraform apply till Terraform remote backend and Terraform workspaces for multiple environments. Also, we are learning Terraform to spin up EC2 instance from the scratch. We are also using Terraform to spin up EKS cluster. Means Terraform will create Kubernetes EKS cluster. That also will be covered here. So if you learn these things here, yes, you could apply your Terraform, use your Terraform in the projects. Now, coming to the projects, how Terraform is used. Yes, Terraform is used to create complete infrastructure in real time. Means using Terraform, you could create S3 buckets, you could create Lambdas, anything you can create. But it's not that you should learn creating all of that. If you know creating EKS cluster and EC2 instances from the scratch, definitely you could work on any of those scenarios in the real time. Terraform is used very widely in the real projects.
Sure, ma'am.
Uh,
Ma'am, with
I
this,
had one question. Uh, we would be using the Helm charts for the deployments here, like complete,
Correct.
actually kind of a project I wanna install.
Actually, I told you I missed few contents and I said it's a JFrog and Argo CD, right? Another thing is Helm chart is also missed from this course content. Helm charts will be covered. Creating our own custom Helm charts will also be covered. That's a far advanced concept related to Kubernetes. Yes, even this will be covered. Yes, we'll be deploying a microservice application with Helm chart.
Okay.
I have used Helm chart in my from my personal experience. Helm charts would be very interesting, and I have used them to configure the infra. Actually, we have custom Grafana and Prometheus where we have used Helm chart to deploy. That's a different use case, but I'll also relate this use case when we start Helm charts. Helm charts can be used to deploy your own custom applications, as well as the standard applications can be customized. I'll talk about this in detail as we get into this part.
Ma'am, after
Preethi,
learning
if you
this
don't
course,
mind, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, my question was after learning this course, what all certification we can appear for, ma'am?
Okay. See, after taking up this course, you can take up certifications like Kubernetes and Terraform. But let me tell you here another thing. Certification content will be different from the real-time content. Means, let's suppose the content which I'm covering will be helping you to work in the real projects. But there are certain topics which are certification specific. So there's a separate course content you have to go through for certifications. But when you learn this, going through that content can be like you can explore that content on self and go for certification. You got the point? And another, okay, let me give you another simple example. Certifications will be like your competitive exams. Like we have gone through our intermediate, right? There'll be board exam and there'll be a MSET or a NEET kind of objective type. So your certification can be considered like an MSET kind of competency based ones. Whereas the board ones are like what we are covering here. So you have to put a little effort on those additional contents to go through the certification. But my personal suggestion is focus on getting expertise on the subject. Then go for the plan for your certification. Means my suggestion is like to my students, go through this course content, whatever we are covering here, first master this, first expertise this, right? It will help you to clear your interviews, switch your career, work on the projects confidently, right? This is the main isn't first expertise the subject. Then yes, you are good, you have learned Kubernetes, whatever we have covered here, you are good enough. Then you can go through that content and you can go through those topics and appear for the certification. Rather than certification in the interviews, we look at the people with the knowledge and the skill set. The strongest skill set we look at rather than certification. That should be the focus.
Thank you.
Certification is not mandatory, is it?
Right. It's not mandatory. Certification, when you put on, you should show that kind of expertise. So definitely it's a good to have, but first gain expertise on the subject, then plan for your certification. I can help you on like what are the steps you need to go through, like the guidance we can provide if you are interested. But suggestion is focus on expertise in that, then go for certification. And particularly Kubernetes certification, you need to really put a lot of toil to go through. But definitely it's worth doing it. First, learn the subject thoroughly, then appear for it. Terraform is simple exam. Certification exam would be a bit simple for Terraform when you compare with Kubernetes. Yeah, again, master the subject and go through it. Yes, please go ahead. Some of you are having questions.
Yeah, nowadays.
Are we covering Ansible?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So in this, see, for like we can watch the video, but we can't make a note. Like, what are the code you're trying to write, right? Like, do we maintain any separate note, or do we maintain any separate lab system for us?
Yes, you'll be getting access to this complete folder. There is a every separate folder like for Ansible, for Git, everything, all the commands, everything, including the presentation will be shared. This drive, this folder access will be provided to you, wherein you have even today's presentation, again, another set of interview questions, sample resumes. And when you talk about like your commands and all, yes, everything will be here. Even the lab assignments also do have them, but again, separate notes is there in the drive, which you will be shared with. And also, hope I answered your question.
Yes.
For Ansible, again, you have all of that content, right? And another thing is, Okay, I missed something. Yeah, sample resumes were also here. You can also go through it. And if you need any help in the resume preparation, we have a team who can help you with, if you need any help in the resume preparation or any career gaps, if you want to discover, we have a separate team for all that counseling. You can reach out to us. You can message me or in the chat. And one more thing is any other questions you have, like even after the class, like if you have any questions, you can reach out to Mr. Raj. He's on this number. You have this WhatsApp number here. You can reach out on this number and clarify your queries. He is the career counselor. So any career gaps or resume build preparation help you need, you can reach out to him. And already the today's class recording link is provided in the community group. Once I close this class, you will get the video upload, but the link is already shared in the community. You can also check that. Hope you're all added to the WhatsApp community. And I think, yeah, almost 90% of them can attend the quiz. Remaining people, like any issues you're facing in accessing the quiz, if still any issues, like you can go to that Zoom options and there is a more where you can see that polls and quizzes. Whoever haven't can go through it. In 2 minutes, I'll end the poll. You will also see the answers. That's how you have that in the other quiz also. You will get the answers every day so that you can validate your understanding, retake the quizzes, all of that is there. And like I said, there will be a separate WhatsApp group created for the regular support. Means when you are doing hands-on, let's say if you are stuck up, you can post those screenshots in the WhatsApp group. Separate private WhatsApp group will be created for the registered students so that you can post your queries, the screenshots, everything in the group. Community link is there here in the chart, Ajay. If you just scroll up, you can see them.
Okay.
Can we see the answers of the quiz?
Yes, I'm sharing them. Just a second. I'm ending the quiz so that you can see the answers. You can see all the correct answers now. So that is all for today. The agenda, the big picture of the course. Still any more questions, you can feel free to reach us. Here on the website, you have the WhatsApp number. He's Mr. Raj. You can talk to him for any further details. Anything else we
Uh,
have? Yes, please.
yeah, just like nowadays, like this Docker is becoming absolute. They are coming with Podman and other like we use those as a kind of image kind of a creation, wrapping it up, and also Jenkins. I mean, Jenkins is being used, but sometimes I mean, I being an experienced professional, so when I go to interviews, right, they do not ask Jenkins, they ask for Tecton and all those kind of a pipeline. So is it like any insight you would be giving on that, like? Because those are predominantly used nowadays. Like they ask for apart from Docker, they ask for other tools also. How you are composing your bundles and deploying it like on a artifactory or like spinning up your images and like say if it is internal registry, raise QA or others ones like uploading your images and then bundling it through your package manager.
Yes, Harshvardhan, like for Docker, yes, we are covering all those advanced concepts like publishing the image on the JFrog Artifactory on the private registries ECR. We are using two private registries here like ECR and JFrog where we'll build the image, publish it onto the artifactories. That is covered, as well as publishing that to artifactory from the CI/CD pipelines during the runtime. Even these things will be covered, and creating custom images using the multi-stage builds is covered for our image optimization. All of these concepts will be covered. We are giving an entire complete focus on DevOps because like I said, like I'm a certified professional in Kubernetes, and I definitely believe that Docker is the base for Kubernetes. Because like we see people, they're working on Kubernetes without Docker knowledge would be a challenging part, because to troubleshoot, definitely you should know it. So all of those topics are covered here. If you go through in Docker, you have even Docker Compose, the add-ons are covered. Volumes, the for data persistency, backing up of the container data, building them, publishing them on JFrog, ECR, all of that is covered here. Just 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, so and another thing, coming to your questions like Podman, you see, to use any of that purpose, Docker is the basic, right? The basic OCI, the container runtime still remains the same. It could be Docker, it could be Podman or Rocket, whatever it is. Those are different wrappers you have, but the internal OCI is same. So if you know Docker, working with those things is just a cakewalk. Like it's just Docker images, it's Podman images. Command would be also as simple as that. There is nothing much difference with those layers. And another question regarding Jenkins. Jenkins, I'm covering almost everything, like the advanced concepts, everything. I'm integrating Jenkins with Kubernetes, EKS cluster, Ansible, Terraform, all of that. And when you talk about the relevant or else the equivalent tools under the same category, like I mentioned before, there were so many tools under each category, right? Covering them or learning them. Even when we sit in the interview panel, we don't see for people who know Jenkins, who know the equivalent tools under the same category, like Go, CI/CD, like many tools are there. Right, we are not looking at everything. If you know Jenkins, we expect that okay, you would be working on other equivalent tools, because tools are emerging every day under each category. I would say not only it's with Jenkins. Like here I mentioned, let's say Git I'm taking because you might be many of might be using it and you can relate. You have TFS, SVN and all. We are not expecting that okay, people should know TFS because I'm using TFS. If you know Git, okay, I expect that you would be using TFS very easily with little exploration and with a little effort, self-learning. That's what we are expecting. We are not depending on a particular skill set, or else we are not binding it, because even though you know TFS today, tomorrow it might be something else. Same is with the case of Jenkins or anything. We have so many tools under the relevant tools like Jenkins, like GitLab is coming up, so many things. But the intention is if you master one thing, expect that interview panelists expect that you would be working on others. Same is the case with cloud. I see so many questions. I know AWS, should I learn Azure for DevOps because my project is using Azure? No, you know one thing, you know AWS with DevOps, you should be able to implement it with a little effort. That's all. It's not that you keep on learning all clouds, all tools. That doesn't work in reality. That's not a practical. So learn the tool, one tool under each category, be it a cloud technologies or containerization tools, whatever. With that skill set, you should be able to work on it. This interview panel, let's say they are using you deploy. Let's say tomorrow they'll ask something else. It's not that we will tune ourselves to every job description. And also interview panelists are not looking with that kind of knowledge. Majority of the cases, 99%, that's not the right way. To get the right candidate, we should see whether they are adaptable, they can adopt the new technologies or not. That's the important part.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there is no end. Tools are emerging day by day. Each job description, according to job description, we don't keep learning or confuse or get overwhelmed. No. Stick to what skill set you have. Definitely, there are interview panelists with the right mindset who knows like how to pick up the right candidates. If I want this skill set, like I want a DevOps person with this skill set, I'm ready, I'm good to go. If you are expert in Azure, I don't need AWS for sure. I don't need Docker if you know Podman, or else I don't need Docker Swarm if you need, or else if you know Puppet, I'm good. I expect that you work on Ansible. And there is another question from Prasanna. If we complete the course and if any candidate want to join again to brush up any topic, can he able to part of any live session? Prasanna, yes, we are providing this, but they were like the terms on which you have to go through. Please connect with Mr. Raj on this. He can give you the clear details on this. Because like what I suggest people is, you dedicate your time and effort and go through the course. If you have some challenge, if you are stuck up due to some reasons, or you cannot go through, yes, we are allowing for the next batch within a year or so. But again, here I would like to mention here, students should be serious, should be determined to take this course and complete it within 2 months and get onto the, because majority of the requests or students come in such a way that we need to learn quickly, we need to jump, or we need to switch our jobs, we need to switch our career, we need to jump onto the new role. That should be the agenda. To encourage that, we wouldn't say, okay, just leave it, go to the other. But really a challenging situation is there, we are living. But we always suggest, get your mind prepared, be committed, take up this course, give your dedicated time for us for these 2 months. We can help you switch your careers. But if we say, okay, there's a flexibility, if this is not, then go for others, we don't give that. We don't want to take this lenience unless it's really needed. So plan it so that you will complete it in 2 months and get it. But of course, if there are any challenges which are not in our control, then yes, you can. For more details, you can connect with Mr. Raj on this. When you are taking up this course, my suggestion is be very determined, have some passion, and if you are strong, having strong determination that we will complete this, and I just want to see the fruits of this course, have a dedicated time, put your effort, and that's how we can progress. All right, then that is all from my end. Any further questions?
Preethi, what is the impact of AI on DevOps? Currently,
Okay.
yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So the artificial intelligence, like, it can be a helping hand, but it will not replace the complete DevOps. Because another thing I would like to suggest, tell you is, okay, we are having CI/CD part, right? There were so many tools involved, so that we are getting 24/7 automation, right? But I would still say, don't consider DevOps like a 24/7 automation or just a blind tool set. I'm coming to your point. Before that, I would like to tell, for example, okay, there is some scenario. Because we have it's a CI/CD pipeline, let's include Ansible, let's include Terraform, let's include every tool because it's CI/CD pipeline. No, you should be wise enough to decide which tool should go there and to what level. Let's suppose, okay, this automation is more effective with a simple script. Let's go for the script. Let's not go for it. Well, it's not mandatory because it's a DevOps, you include all the tools. As a DevOps engineer, you should be wise enough to decide. Of course, that comes at the design and architect level, but through experience. But that's what you should do. When a tool should be used, at what level, whether is it manually done is cheaper than automation. All of this decision a person should take, not even artificial intelligence, right? So that's one area where it's blocking. Also, it can help you like a helping hand. It can't replace the whole DevOps team or a DevOps people. Be it not only DevOps, anything. It can be used wisely, make more make our work more productive, more effective. That's how we can use AI. But AI, as of now at least, is not replacing the tools or the teams. No, it can't. Still, there is a manual intervention where decisions to be taken, where design should be to be done. But we can utilize this to have more productivity and more effective work. That's how it can be used, but not a replacement for any technology, not only DevOps.
Thank you.
So with this, I would like to close here, and recording will be available. The links are posted in the community WhatsApp group. I believe you all have joined the WhatsApp community group. And this is our website. You can reach out to Mr. Raj on this number for any other queries. If you have any questions for me, you can pass on the same and get in touch with me. And recording will be available in few minutes in the link posted in the community. And we have the 3 days available for you to attend as a free demo. You can use the same Zoom link and join the classes. And yeah, for access related or any other questions, reach out to Mr. Raj on this number. And once again, thank you all for joining on this Sunday. Thank you all for your time, and have a good day. Enjoy your weekend, and thank you all. See you all tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Preethi.
Thank you.